Hi everyone, I am back. So first off, this is the updated sponsor list. So I want to thank everyone. I really appreciate it. And this is going to be a video sort of answering a lot of questions I have received over the last few days. A lot of people really like my experiments with the new pouring medium. And I had questions about the gold squares on that other painting. I had questions about the colors I've used for this painting. So that's what we're gonna discuss, and a couple of other things. So first I want to start with the painting. See, the squares I made are really thin. Because, you know, if you, I still have to varnish it, but as you can see, let me hold them up close. They are totally nicely square, nice and flat, and it looks like they're painted on. And that was what I was looking for. I was really looking for, I'd like to gild it, you know, with the gold leaf, but you can never get it like this because, yeah, I don't know why, but I thought about making a piece of Yupo and then cutting out the squares and then doing a spray glue on it and then putting the gold leaf on it, but you know, it's just too much to do. And then I thought, why not just put it on something really thin and cut them out? So I'll tell you how I did it. All I did is took the gloss medium, like most of you already have, and I put in my gold mica. It's Dutch mica. And as you can see, this paper, it's butcher paper, I think you call it. And it is totally flat because you can see here where I put some tape on it to stretch it flat, that it doesn't do anything. So then I mixed up my mica. I'll show you what it looks like. This is the mica. And it's Dutch made right here in Holland. And I put it in the gloss medium. Really stirred it like it's totally smooth. And then put it on with a really flat wide brush. I put it on, let it dry. And then what you can do is just take off this plastic, as you can see, and it is so thin. It is totally thin. And look at this is the back of it, and this is the front side, and it's just like gold. And it has a beautiful sheen, beautiful color. And then what you can do is just, you know, cut it up. I did it with scissors, but you can, let me get it. Where is my, well, I don't know where that thing, oh, here it is. Okay, well, what you can do is just put a ruler like that, get a sharp knife, and look at that. And you can just put it on your painting. Now, I put it on with, what is this under my shoe? Oh, I had that in my shoe. Okay. What you can do is when you have your painting dried and ready, you can put this on with a little bit of gloss medium. And look how nice and tight that is. And if that isn't what you want, you can just cut it up like this in little squares. See that? That is so easy to do. And if you really want to do it well, you will take a ruler, and with a pencil you can, you know, just take the size that you want. But this is so easy to put on your painting. And I really like the effect it had. And this is so easy to cut. And it stays really, you know, if I hold it up in the light, you can see the brush marks. I don't know if you can see it there. Let's see if I can show you. See that? You see the brush marks? But as soon as you put it on the painting, it's solid gold, so it's really nice to work with. And if you really made something like really thin, let's see, let me do that. A very thin strip. I'm pretty sure you can make some really nice swirly lines, you know, if you put it down. If you put a layer of gloss medium on the painting and just let it dry, that it begins to get tacky, you know what I mean, then you can really put it on and it'll stay there absolutely where you put it on. And that is really thin, but I'm sure I could go even thinner because this is, somehow this plastic is really, it's very user-friendly. Look at that, how thin that is. And I'm sure you can make all sorts of corners and turns and swirly things with it. I'm sure I could even cut it thinner than that. Just as thin as you want. Let's see. But you do have to have a really, really sharp knife. That is really important. And preferably don't do that on a table because look, I just cut straight through the plastic. I'm sorry. Oh boy, that's just me. But look how thin this is. This is unbelievably thin. But can you imagine what you can do with this? And what this is it's cheese paper. Look how that would look. That would look gorgeous. Just putting it on there. I'm coming up with all sorts of stuff that I can do with that. Okay, you get the idea, right? So that was how I made the squares. Now, I got so much stuff to tell you guys. Let's put this away. Now, a lot of people ask me about the colors I used for the this one. And what I used was, let's see, that way around. Okay, we have the 810. That is the quinacridone violet. Then we have the yellow. That was of it's really orange. It's transparent orange, but it sort of reacts like a really deep yellow. So this number, gotta get another one. This is the 414. Then I had this color, which I used two of these because one I put in pure and the other one I put a couple of drops of titanium white in to make the pink. But this color is 68606, quinacridone red magenta. Then we had the quinacridone crimson, the 809. And I had, of course, the titanium white, the 303. Now, these are the only colors I used for this pour. And people are talking about how vibrant this stuff is. And I'll give you a comparison. You remember I did this, and as you can see, the Winsor & Newton, it is, when it dries, it's like more chalk paint, right? Because it has absolutely no sheen over it. It is as matte as it comes. When we take Vallejo, and I know I don't pronounce it right, but just let me say Vallejo. Pretty soon, next year in January, I'll be going to Creative World, and I'll be meeting up with the owners of Vallejo, and they're gonna kick my butt, and they're gonna kick me time and time again until I can say Vallejo properly, I'm pretty sure. But that's okay, they can do that. But let me explain. Can you see the sheen that is on here? This is totally dry, and you would almost say, you know, you varnished it already, but I didn't, because that's how this stuff dries. See how beautiful it is? Shiny and vibrant. Okay, now here's the deal. And then we come straight to the problem, what I had. Well, problem, not a problem, but it explains why this paint still moves after about 15 to 30 minutes. It still moves. So I had a talk with the owner yesterday of Vallejo, and they explained it to me. And I did a little research on the internet, and it's pretty much how he explained it. A paint company makes paint, right? But because they sometimes, you know, they want to make paint, but they want to also make some money. So what they do is, of course, the color is pigments. And that's another question I got, because someone asked me, why is one paint color so much more expensive than the other? Like if we have these two, this one against this one is 3 times as expensive as this one. And why that is because of the pigments that are involved. So the pigments really determine if you have the studio quality or the artist quality, because they put much more pigments in the artist colors, right? So that's why they are more expensive. Like if you have those, all the earthy colors almost, they are pretty much in the lower range. The white is in the lower range. And as soon as you go to these laboratory colors like quinacridone, you go into the highest level of pigments. But here comes the thing. And I have a little, because you might think, yeah, but you know, if you had a smaller one, look at this. This is matte as it comes. And this is Winsor & Newton. And that is the Vallejo. So what he explained to me is that because they want to make money, they put fillers in the paint. So the more fillers you put in, the more cheaper paint you get. But Vallejo told me they do not do that. They don't do the filler thing. So that's why the colors are so vibrant, and why it dries very shiny, like it's just, you know, varnished. So that's the difference between studio quality paint and the artist quality paint. Now, the thing is that when I did this one, and this was with that new medium also, because you saw me do that. But when you torch this, after you torch, that's what you get. So all the cells, they stay intact, they don't move anymore. That's it. What you see is what you get. When you do this, because there is no filler involved, it's not after you torch what you see is what you get, because there's so much acrylic in this with so much binders and all that stuff that it just keeps moving. Now, some people, and I have to get used to it, because I sort of like when I torch, that's what I want. But some people say, okay, I like it that it moves just a little bit more, because it gives me more the feeling of something that is alive, like it's organic. So that's why some people really said, wow, that is something I really want to see in my painting. That is awesome. I've been looking for this look. And I understand that, because it's, for me, it's very appealing to look at this. This is beautiful. But sometimes you just want to pour, you want to torch, and let it stay like that. So, surprise, surprise, Vallejo said, you know what, we're gonna do a little bit more testing on that new medium, because we want to make the medium that when you pour, that it's gonna stay like that. So tomorrow I'm gonna get a new batch of test medium, and when I get that, I'm gonna try it. It's gonna be, they promised me it's gonna be the same awesome cell, stuff. You know, it's going to sell like crazy and do the same thing, but it's going to be a little bit thinner because with Winsor & Newton and your Amsterdam acrylic and all that stuff, you have to put too much water in it to get it to the consistency for pouring. So they said, listen, we can do that. We can make the same pouring medium, but a little bit thinner so you don't have to add so much water. So that's what's coming in tomorrow. I already got the UPS thing that they're gonna deliver it tomorrow here at my home. So tomorrow evening, it's gonna be a long evening because you know I'm gonna be so thrilled to do that again. So that's what I'm gonna do tomorrow. Now, for the Vallejo, for this type of paint, you can hear how thin it is, right? The people that have these paints, they know that it's thin. The problem is that I use Ovatrol Floetrol, and it is a little bit thicker than the Flood. Now, I know that in America, the most people, they want to use the Flood. So what is Vallejo gonna do? They're gonna go and look for something that is a little thicker, and then that when you pour and you torch, that this type of paint will stay like after you torch. So they're working on that, and I'm telling you, that's not easy. It's not easy. They told me that there are something around 200 sorts of fillers that can be put in the paint. So they're going to be working on that in the laboratory, and I really appreciate them doing that because they're going overboard trying to get us something that is so totally awesome. And first I thought, you know, you're already there, don't experiment anymore, I want this medium. But if they can make the same effect with a little bit thinner, that you don't have to add so much water, that would be just a little bit better. So that's what they're gonna do. So I'm pretty happy about that. Now, furthermore, there was another person, or a couple of people, and one even sent me pictures about pouring and not getting any cells. And I'm sure there are a lot of people that are in the same part of that pouring. You know, they're pouring, they love the colors, but there's not enough cells. So I'm gonna ask you to do one test. When you mix up your paint, first thing, I have so many videos about the thickness of the paint. That's the most important thing. It should not be too thick, but it should not be too thin. It should come off your stick like honey in one continuous stream. No, not a lot of drips because then it's too thin. Not in chunks because then it's too thick. It has to come off in a continuous stream. Now do one thing. If you have never ever had cells, then please do this. Mix up a couple of colors. You choose the colors. 4 or 5 will do. Then you put them in a cup. So you have your canvas ready. You've stirred up all your paint and you're ready to go. So you put all your colors in the cup, and we call this a dirty cup. So all the colors in one cup. Then I want you to do it like this. So you put your canvas on top, you turn it around, you have your torch ready. Okay, then you pull back your cup, all the paint comes out. You might do this like just 10 seconds, no more than that. You grab your torch, you start torching. You gotta have cells, people, that has to be. Because there's no way possible that you don't get cells if you do that. So remember, do the test, do the flip cup. You put it on like that. You know, you have a full cup of paint. You put it on like that. You turn it over. You pull it back. Maybe you do a little tilt like that. Take your torch and torch. You have to get cells like that. If you don't get cells, I don't think you put silicone in, because it cannot be like that. It has to sell. Someone else told me that, you know, they had these little bumps and everything in the paint. But, you know, when you get bumps in your paint, that's a sign that you haven't been stirring enough, because you have to stir so much. when I'm using the Winsor & Newton and I do a painting like this is a 30 by 30, so let's say 12 inch by 12 inch. When I start preparing my paints, it takes me an hour to an hour and a half to have all the paints ready. If you're doing it in 10 minutes, you're not doing it right. The thing is that I squirt in the paint, then I put in pouring medium, then I start stirring, because first I want the pouring medium to be totally mixed in with the paint. Then I come in with the gloss medium, then I stir. It has to be totally smooth. Then when everything is smooth and I got my pouring medium and my gloss medium in, then I come in with my little water bottle and I squirt in a little bit of water and I stir. Again, stir. Again, stir. And I do that maybe 8 times or something like that when I do the water, because I do little squirts of water. And then it's totally smooth. Then I'll put in a little bit of Floetrol. You can do that right after the pouring medium and the gloss medium, or at the end, it's up to you. And then stir again. Then when I have all the colors ready, then I set up my canvas. So I take my canvas, I put the push pins in, I put the little pegs in to make it really tight, because you want this really tight. Then I put it down. Then when all the colors are ready, I have my canvas ready. I put my silicone in the cup, and remember, this is important because you don't want to put the silicone in too early, because while you're setting up your canvas, your silicone will rise to the surface, because that's what silicone does. So then when everything's ready, I stir in my silicone, then I get my flip cup, I put all the colors together, and sometimes you want to pour it in from up high. And sometimes you want to pour it in low so that it goes over the top. But when you pour it up from up high, it sort of, with the speed and the gravity, it goes straight through all the other colors. And sometimes that is really awesome to have on your canvas. So when I have it all in there, then I put the canvas on top, turn it around, pull it back, and then you can do 2 things, because I know exactly that I have everything stirred to the right consistency. Sometimes you see me, you know, just tilt the whole thing and then start to torch. But if you don't have a grip on the thickness of the paint yet, what I'd like you to do is just pull back the cup. Don't do this. Don't pull it up, straight up, because all those drips will, you know, they will make it a little bit ugly, so you don't want to do that. Just pull it back and it will flow out, and maybe give it 1 or 2 seconds of a tilt and then torch. And you will get cells, I am sure. There, a while back, and that's a long time ago, I did a couple of experiments about the way cells appear. Now, in that video, you saw me put 2 colors next to each other like that, and it did not sell, because you have to have 2 colors over each other, because that's why you get the blue background and the beautiful white cells. So don't expect, when you just put colors all over your canvas and then tilt a little bit, you will not get as much cells as with a flip cup. Now, if you really want a control over your pour over the canvas, what you can do is, instead of the flip cup, put all your colors in 1 cup, then hold your canvas like this, slanted, I think it's called, then pour like this. Because you want to pour here that it goes down, then put it flat, torch. You will get cells, I'm sure you will. The only reason that you don't get cells is if your paint is too thin, because by the time you have, you know, released the paint and you've tilted a little bit and you grab your torch, all the silicone is already on the surface. So there is no way that it can pull itself through the paint because it's already on top. Then you don't get cells. And the same, of course, when the paint is way too thick, because then it holds the silicone underneath, and no matter how much you torch, it won't come to the surface because the paint is too thick. So that's really the essence of pouring and getting the cells. Okie dokie. Well, that was about it, and this is already a video 25 minutes, so I'll stop right there. But I hope that I cleared up a lot of questions, and tomorrow I will be starting again with pouring with a new medium again, and this time a little thinner. I hope it'll be just as awesome as this was, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. So I want to thank you all for watching. I want to say I love you all to pieces. Liebe euch alle. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.